and just.
Are you still?
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. I'll be back in a couple of weeks.
Nice. All right, let me just double check that everything's good. Are we live? Yeah, we are, baby. All right, let's go. So, okay, here we are, guys, again. We got the Sage devs, all right? Sage is doing pretty good these days. They have just rolled out V1 of the platform. We got Cryptonomicon. We got Sir Yield here. Guys, tell me what today has been like. Tell me what's going on. Let's give us the lowdown. Let's hear what people have to say about it.
Drew, why don't you kick things off? I'm going to kind of like start following and streaming from our accounts.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been awesome and exciting. We've had it pretty much ready to go for about a week and a half, but we just wanted to make sure everything was dialed. Obviously, like one of the biggest challenges with anything AI related or agent related, anything that's using an LLM underneath, is that LLMs are non-deterministic. I don't want to get like overly technical here, but since I'm the technical guy here, I'll dig into it a little bit. Like you can't predict neatly what an LLM is going to respond with. And so like one of the beauties of agents is you're trying to add kind of this structure to what can seem like and feel like a little bit chaotic, a little bit unstructured, which is actually like one of the beauties of LLMs, I think, is that they can kind of go anywhere, do anything. They're not this very rigid, logical program that's gonna every single time be exactly the same. They're somewhat unpredictable, and I think there's power to that. But in terms of like building an application and kind of wrapping that into something that's usable and has a really high quality experience for the end users, that's a real challenge. And it's akin to the early days of the internet when maybe the early days of like distributed systems, when you're trying to build these like very scalable systems with lots and lots of users, because networking is non-deterministic, is unreliable, and there's all sorts of issues that you run into there. So you're trying to address edge cases that you believe will happen or could happen before they happen. And so that's always a little bit of a challenge, but it's also part of the fun. And I think it's what makes the future so exciting, is that we have these tools that, very much akin to humans, are somewhat unpredictable. They can be extremely powerful. They can also kind of break down sometimes. So you have to be able to give them the right kind of structure in order to succeed and to deliver an experience to our users that's really quality.
They can act unpredictably, and they have a degree of freedom that like an algorithm, just a straight algorithm, does not have. Right?
Exactly. Yeah, they have a degree of freedom that the algorithms don't have. They have unpredictability, and even when you give them structure, sometimes they'll like go off script. Most people listening to this have probably used an LLM at this point and know that like sometimes it just doesn't respond the way you want it to. So you have to regenerate. And so there's a lot of challenges in there, but we think we found like a really, really solid balance here.
That's good.
We've been internally testing it over the last week or so. We've hit the agent like close to 100,000 times, just from our like internal use and some beta users. So we've already gotten a lot of sort of battle testing out of it. That's not to say that there won't be edge cases and some rough edges that users run into, but we think it's ready for showtime. And the only way to kind of get it to the next step is to get it in people's hands and let them use it and give us feedback.
For sure. So what are some of the challenges? Like, has there been any like massive hallucinations or like any like weird?
Less so hallucinations, more so like sometimes you have to regenerate content, not because it hallucinates, but just because the structure that it's supposed to be delivered in is slightly off. And so you're trying to match that with a front end that is expecting it to be a very specific structure. If the output is not structured a certain way, then it's just not going to fit with what the front end predicts or expects. So that's been kind of the biggest challenges, and it's very rare at this point. We've gotten it pretty dialed in. but you know, it may happen time to time. But it's
right.
yeah, the biggest challenge has been just like sometimes you'll like when you're using it, you may like end up in a section where just like the content doesn't appear and you got to regenerate it.
Right.
So like that's really kind of been the biggest. We haven't run into any issues where it does like any of these weird hallucinations. Like I've seen some examples on Twitter of like really truly going off the rails.
Right.
But we've been, you know, we've been working with these things for a long time, so we have a good idea of how to keep them structured, how to validate the responses, things like that. So it's mostly around like structured output is really the biggest challenge.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I'd say like, you know, we'll stream. We're pushing the code live right now to officially launch. And you know, just like anything else, like I think that we're, you know, building education with an AI back end. There's a lot that goes into it, and I think like Drew, you could kind of go into like what type of the agent infrastructure looks like, what type of models we're running this off of. Like, you know, we're hosting all our own open source models. We're running our own GPUs. We're tweaking everything. It's a lot to try to accomplish this. And I think when people start digging into it, like they'll see, some people will see it'll feel like there's still definitely more to come. We still have to kind of like launch the creator economy, the monetization,
like V0.
Yeah, this is basically zero. You know, we still have to build some more type of interactive tests, some different ways to interact with it. But I think a lot of people will start to see what the vision is, and kind of like what we're building. So Drew, why don't you want to kind of like go over, just kind of recap again, like what the infrastructure looks like behind it. And then I think we'll share our screen. We're pushing the code live and we'll be live.
Yeah, absolutely. So we talked a little bit on the original stream that we did about Formation. So Formation is the parent company of Sage, and Formation is a vertically integrated two-sided AI agent marketplace. So by vertically integrated, what we mean is we literally own every part of the stack. We're not reliant on ChatGPT. We're not reliant on Claude. We're not reliant on other third-party model providers. We use strictly open source models that we host on GPUs that we own, that we have our own corner in data centers. The same data centers CoreWeave has their GPU servers in. So we're in, you know, primarily switch data centers, but also Flex Central data centers. You know, we have what's called D2C, data center to data center direct connections for our networking. We have redundancies across multiple servers for all of our models, all of our agents. Sage currently is using Llama 4 Scout, which is sort of a mid-sized model. It's a smaller in terms of active parameters, but it's got a large number of parameters that it's trained on. It's outperformed, like we've run side by side with GPT 4.0. Which is considered, you know, a state of the art. I guess they came out with 5, but I think 4.0 is still probably state of the art for this type of purpose.
Right.
And Llama 4 Scout outperforms it. I mean, from a human eyeball test, not like some benchmark that you can train the LLM to you know, do really well on, but like from the human eye test, you know, it dramatically outcompetes. I mean, the content is of much higher quality. The structure is better. So just like, you know, there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that we've had to build in order to get to this point and deliver on this experience. But those are things that even though it took a little bit longer and was a little bit more, we're a little bit more invested in it up front, over the long term, that's going to really pay off because we're not going to run into these reliance issues of, you know, a third-party model provider that's overcharging, that's constantly changing prices.
Right.
Maybe they change their API and we end up, you know, with breaking changes in the application. There's all sorts of things that can go wrong when you're completely reliant on third-party infrastructure. So, and then beyond that, as we roll out the Formation agent marketplace, agent developers are going to be able to actually compete on economics. So like one of the major issues that we have right now in the AI economy is that all of these like high ARR companies, like you'll never hear them talk about profits because they're just not going to ever talk about profits because they don't make profit. They're hemorrhaging money. They have to go out and raise money in order to survive because their inference costs are massive. And it's just never going to be economical if they're continuing to use these third-party models, but they've become so dependent on those third-party models that it's very difficult for them to move away from them. So we built this intentionally with that in mind, that we want this to be something that's sustainable, that can survive long-term, that can empower developers, that can empower creators, and that also, like, we have ideas, obviously Sage being one of them, that we think are really, really valuable, that we want to add to the network. We want to contribute to the network. And so building this in a way that allows us to grow a real business that, yes, will generate revenue, but we can also turn on the profit spigots and build this into a sustainable business was very important to us. We think that there's a little bit of a, what you would call an ARR bubble. It's not necessarily a traditional bubble. AI is here to stay. There's going to be lots of companies that live beyond that. But there's a lot of companies out here that the ARR numbers are just not they're really not the real story. The real story is how much money
does the ARR mean for those who don't know?
Yeah. Annual recurring revenue. So it's basically the monthly subscription price times the number of users times 12. And you have all these companies that are publishing, we're doing 10 million, 20 million, 100 million in ARR. And you just hear this term constantly in the AI space, but you'll never hear them talk about profits. They're not even going to ever mention it. It's just not, it's not something that's realistic because
they're paying out so much for the computation of all these questions being asked. People are typing in this, typing in that. And
we also,
that backside end that has to like compute and think about all this stuff and then give an answer that costs a lot of money, right?
And I think that also we think that like the AI world is going to start changing pretty quickly. And, we think the models are going to start getting smaller. You're going to have like small language models starting to get pretty popular. You're going to have like specialization models. You're going to have a lot of fine-tuned models. And by us controlling our own middleware layer and our own hardware layer, and be able to kind of like host whatever
reduces the cost significantly.
It also puts us like in an interesting position to be able to like work with other AI developers, to work with
you can offer that to
like virtuals and other things. So we have a lot, again, like we have a lot that's after we wanted to really focus on Sage, and I think we'll share our screen. We just pushed the code live. So happy to announce, like right now you can. Sage beta is live.
Literally right now.
Yeah, we just put the code. Sage beta is
literally launched. Okay, if you want to share your screen, there's a little.
I'll share my screen. And again, like I think that what we wanted to do is like really focus on Sage. We'll probably continue to focus on Sage for the next few weeks. And then we'll kind of, start getting into really showcasing. Let me see.
If you want to, I can add it.
Can you see my screen?
Yep.
There it is. Yes.
Okay, hold on. Let me if I do this, what do you see now? Okay, hold on.
Infinite.
I see you looking at our live.
You see Sage now?
Yeah,
I see it now. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I mean, I think for the next few weeks, we really want to focus on Sage. We want to get a ton of user feedback, and we want to kind of let Sage like stand alone as what it can, and kind of let people understand where it is now and where it will be in the future. And then in the next kind of like week or so, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you're going to really start hearing a lot about formation from Sage, from the formation account, from us. And we'd love to come on and do like another stream and really highlight kind of like what we have coming down the pipes, why a bunch of people invested in formation, what we're really excited about. But with that being said, Sage, that we did just push this live. So here you can kind of come in. We'll walk through this real quick. Go through. Anyone can kind of like sign up or sign in right now. I'll just put, let me just whatever. I'll just put Charles. Okay.
And so basically you go through, you create your account, you're going to do a confirmation. Make sure you're a real human.
I could take you off if you need to, like, check.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I don't think
we're gonna see all your email.
That's fine.
No, you're off. You're off.
You're off for now.
Just tell us. Yeah,
tell us. Here we go. So can you see my screen now again?
Hang on, I can add it right back. There we go. Okay, good.
Cool. Okay. Yep. So now we're in. Quick sign up. Just email verification. And at this point, we have a couple things that are like recommended, or you could kind of just type in whatever you want to learn. I'd say obviously at the beginning, we want to kind of keep it relatively simple. As we start getting into more interactions again, like we want to start right now, it's text and quizzes and things like that. And in the future, we want to do, we're rolling out like voice and speaking and video and things along those that are a little bit more complicated. Right now, let's look something about like crypto. Let's, I don't know, teach me about Bitcoin dominance or something like that. Teach me how to trade using Bitcoin dominance, something like that. I don't know. We can do whatever. And then basically have an idea of where you are, beginner, experienced, intermediate, advanced. I know Bitcoin relatively well. And then again, this is kind of like understanding, are you visual, auditory, hands-on, reading? We kind of save this for the future. But again, we're understanding, and then like, I want to make money trading. So it's trying to get a little bit better context now of understanding like, what are your goals, right? Like, what do you want to learn? But not just what you want to learn. Is this for a professional setting? Is this a trading setting? Is this a casual setting? Again, because all these courses, you will be able to select other people's courses, but these are being curated for exactly what you want to do, custom learning on any topic, right? And now basically you have it doing deep research based on your preferences, the topics, things along those lines. Takes a few minutes to kind of do. Again, this is bouncing off our against our models that we're hosting. And I think Drew.
You want me to share my screen and kind of show what he got booted. I'm going to share my screen and just kind of show what a course will look like after.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, Drew.
So let me do this screen share and we'll go here. Okay. So you can see, you want to add.
There we go. Yep.
So I was just messing around with this. For some of you guys that know me, I'm a golfer and I like to golf, and been struggling a little bit with my putting. So I'm asking Sage to teach me how to improve putting.
Right? And as you see this, like all the content, all the courses, all the questions, all the images are kind of developed, are created as we go. And again, like I think a lot of these images, we're kind of pulling them in now, curating the system to use more imagery on different things, with quizzes, with things, more types of effects. So I think like a lot of people will start to, it might feel a little bit similar, then people will start to understand where we're going with this.
Yeah. Yeah. So in the future and relatively near future, if you're more of a visual learner, we're going to be generating videos. If you're more of an auditory learner, you're going to have more voiceover. If you're hands-on, it's going to be driven a lot more by practice and examples. Right now in version 0, it's a lot of LLM-driven content-based learning. But that's going to obviously adjust and improve over time. But even this is very personalized. So I entered in a bunch of information about where my putting currently is and different things like that. And so, and where I am in terms of understanding golf and everything. This is lesson 2. Lesson 1 was sort of some of the basics and the fundamentals. So now this is going into my current putting technique, and analyzing my current technique is very crucial. It knows that I'm a machine learning engineer. So, it implies that it's very useful to understand data analysis and objective evaluations. So things like that. It's very personalized to kind of who I am.
Why don't you try to click through and get some of the questions, maybe get to one of the battles at the end, something like that.
Yep, absolutely. So boom, I'm done there. We can go to continue learning. Cool. And so this is kind of what the layout looks like. So I'm already in lesson 2. And then we can go through and it's going to generate lesson 2, and you kind of get the idea at the end of each module. So depending on how many lessons there are in a module, at the end of each module, you have a larger assessment, and you have like battles, and you can stack up XP and things like that. This is talking about goal setting, and we go through, and we'll just kind of click through this.
And then we have kind of like mini assessments also that should start popping up soon as well, which I think you'll see.
Yeah. So depending on what you're learning about, like within a section or within a lesson, you'll also get a couple of questions here or there. It can become pretty interactive. I think given kind of the context of this particular, topic, it's a little bit less interactive because it's talking about like something physical that I need to do, right? So it's not something that I can just like answer a question and all of a sudden I'm going to be better at putting. It's giving me physical practice to
it's not a knowledge based.
Right. And then this is the last section in this particular lesson. We'll just go through, and as you can see, it's like pretty quick at generating this content.
I like the UI, like, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, the UI is fantastic. It flows really, really nicely. Key summaries, complete section, boom, and we'll go on to the next one. And here's my first boss. So we're gonna battle. I get 7 lives. I get 2 minutes. I got to get 7 out of 10 questions right, or 70% number of questions it generates.
It's legit, yeah.
And this is generating it based on the stuff that I just went through. So obviously I clicked through some of them. I didn't read it all directly. So, I'm going to have a little bit of a challenge on my hands to get them right. Luckily, I know more about how to putt well than I actually can putt well.
And I think that you'll see how this kind of battle works. I think like as we go further on, let's watch. So now you could see he has 2 minutes. And hopefully
you got to answer them all, right?
He missed his first one.
Yep.
Right. So you can see the explanation.
Good. This is good.
Let's see how he does. Drew's a pretty good golfer, so he got that one right.
I didn't read through all of the answers, otherwise I would have picked all of the above. Okay. Purpose of gate drill. So it's going to be to enhance alignment.
All right. Good job. So obviously,
and as you can see, the lives and like all this very like gamified,
Right. Yeah, we want to kind of push the gamification a lot.
It's a big deal. It's a big portion of it.
Yeah, well, and there's a lot of evidence that shows that like the more interactive it is and the more personalized it is, the better you are retaining.
Huge.
Okay, good job.
I still have a couple of lives, but I'm on a streak right now.
Let's see how you do.
That's false.
Wow.
Oh man.
I knew that, but
you gotta pass.
Moron. Come
on. That's true for sure.
That's so true.
I knew that was wrong, but I wanted to get one wrong.
Okay, cool. So
4 out of 7 dead.
I still got a victory because I still had 5 hearts left, but not great accuracy, right?
Why don't you go to the dashboard now? So we can kind of like go to a different view.
I'll go back to my profile. Courses. So this is what the dashboard looks like. So I've got 1 active course. I'm on a 1-day streak. My average grade is an F, which is not great.
So you'll see, you can kind of see your existing courses and like.
Yeah. So like, say I'm a creator and I come on here.
Right.
Like,
so you have a couple things.
Is this all like just fucking created for me? Like, how the fuck?
Yeah, this is all created for you.
Like,
so
I just tell the AI like I want to create a course on this. It's the information.
Yeah, and it's basically the next thing we have is an advanced course creator, right? So the advanced course creator is where there's a lot more customization. You could give feedback as you go through it. You could modify the direction that things are going. You could give it private knowledge base, things like that. And then on all of your courses, you'll have basically like a toggle button on and off if you want to launch these things for other people to use. And then when other people come on, they can either create their own or take yours. And obviously we'll have like algorithms running and analytics that show where we'll curate which courses should be shown. So if there's multiple courses on golf, but people seem to be enjoying or getting through certain ones better, those will be the ones that we'll like showcasing.
So if I'm a creator, like say I want to come on and I'm like, I want to create a course on how to give massages to people.
Right.
I could just tell that to the AI, and it like kind of does it. Like it will
iterate it for you from start to finish. But the beauty of the creator platform is that you can so like, for example, let's say I was reading through one of these sections on putting and I'm like, okay, like this is good, but it doesn't really describe what I'm trying to learn. I can kind of fine tune it and say, hey, I want to learn more about this particular thing, or I'm more of a hands-on learner. Give me more drills to focus on. So like it's a lot more, it's going to take a lot more of your feedback. Right now, there is an explanation process that you can dig into here, but it really is more just right there in the moment. With the creator platform, those explanations, further analogies, you can add that to your course. So you can build up the course as you go. So it'll give you a baseline. It'll come up with curriculum, sections, lessons, but then you can kind of adjust it and add to it as you go. So it's a lot more interactive for the creator.
So anyone can come on here with like anything that they have like some knowledge about. And they could be like, I'm going to create a course. Like I know a good amount about this topic. I'm going to tell it to like create the course and it'll just create it.
Right.
But then I'm like, I'll go through it and do it myself or whatever, just to test the course.
So
and then I'll be like, okay, this was all 90% good, but like this part needs to be like changed. Right.
Exactly.
This is wrong.
Exactly. And then
they can go in and edit it and like fine tune it to their liking. And then like they could produce that course, they can publish it or whatever.
Right.
And then like it's gonna be like pretty good, right?
The other thing that we'll have is like right now,
pretty cool.
See, like a lot of the questions are kind of like true, false, multiple answers, things like that. We're going to create like different types of interactive questions, so you can kind of like curate what type of questions, what type of quizzes it's going to be. So
open-ended, long answer, short answer, essay.
Right, like a bar. So especially with coding, if somebody wants to add a bar in there, and kind of like be able to like message. So to think that like any question, any answer can work directly with any of the open source LLMs we have. So as we get further along, I think people will start to see that being able to quiz people when you have an open source LLM in the background, it really changes the game. And I think, again, this is like version 0.1, right? And we obviously need to kind of like walk before we run, but we're super excited to kind of like get this out. We do like, I think some people are going to use it. It might like FUD say it's simple. And then some people are going to really get our vision of like where we're going to this. So like the next thing over the next 2 days, we're like releasing docs for everything. We're also releasing like Sage staking. Once we release the paid version of Sage, right now we have it open. But then we're kind of releasing a paid version. We start bringing in like Sage's like utility, different payments and different access to different features. So a lot, now that we're live, you'll kind of see these versions updating pretty quickly. And then I think like as we start making it more complex, it's probably going to be a bit of a push-pull. We're going to probably try to like stretch it a bit, like make it a lot more interactive. People will say like, oh, there's a couple bugs, bring it back a little bit. And I generally think that like the people that really continue to follow us are going to really start to understand the vision and the power of where we're going with this. And I think they'll also start to understand, like the better they understand Sage, they'll start to understand like a lot of what's coming down the pipes with Formation as well.
I think like what people need to understand is like if they go and create a course, like it seems to me like the AI just kind of creates the whole course.
It does.
And then you're just like, as the expert yourself, you're like, that was easy, right? Like I didn't have to like go through and like fucking design each level or like fucking each class. But now I can go through and like do my own course and be like, okay, this is what needs to be tweaked because like 80 to 90% of this is like solid.
I've taken.
That's what I really don't think people like get about it. It's like they're thinking like I gotta fucking create all this shit myself. It's like no, the AI will create the course and it'll have like a basic rubric or like course curriculum, whatever. And then you're because you're like the one who's deciding what course you want to create. You will come through and you'll be like, okay, this is what needs to be changed. Like this lesson needs to be. So the 80 to 90% of the work is done for you as a course creator.
Exactly.
And then you're just kind of tweaking it and fine tuning it yourself. That's what I think is like the hard part that most people don't understand about Sage is that like 90% of the work is done for you. Right? Like, and you're just actually the one who's like tweaking it to your own liking and maybe adding to it from there. I mean, that's
exactly it. It's really built to empower course creators.
Right.
And
it makes a lot more sense to me after like seeing that, to be honest.
Yeah. So look, we invite people to hop on, start making some courses. Again, right now you'll track your own saved courses, and then we'll open it up so you can start offering those to others. I think that like we've all done like Udemy courses and like it's such a straight line process. I think that like as you see other versions ship in the next like few days and week, you'll start to be able to like not just go on a straight line. If you think you want this course updated and move in a different direction or really focus on a single topic, you're able to kind of like use it and regenerate and start to modify courses. So again, like hop on, use it, give us feedback, and keep in mind that we host all these open source models ourselves. We have multiple models working between text and image and videos and voice coming in. So if you have a great idea or if something that you want to see, like because we own Formation, which this is fully deployed, hosted on. We have all our own models. We do model fine tuning. There really is like, this is like the world is our oyster on this, right? There really is like anything can be created or added to the roadmap. And, we're growing our team. We've been making more hires. We're at about like 9 people right now, 10 people. We're if you think there's something you can contribute or share, let us know.
What if, okay, say there's another project, an AI project, for instance, maybe even on virtuals, and they're like, we want to create a course for how to use our.
We're talking to a few already. A couple people in the virtuals community are going to be some of the really early adopters in the advanced course creation. So if you have a great knowledge base and you have a really good idea, something you want to monetize, come to us. We really want to highlight a few teams or a few people, and kind of give like, obviously the whole point of this is to be able to use AI and do it all yourself and interact with it. But we're already talking to a few kind of key people in the ecosystem that once we kind of get the initial kind of kinks out, we're going to give like some really white glove service to, and really help them create something very, very cool. So if there's anybody listening, anyone else in the eco, or just, even outside the ecosystem,
anyone who wants to give users of their product a basic to actually
tutorial
advanced
guide course,
tutorial guide
masterclass,
can just
whatever you want to call
do
it,
it on
right?
here, right?
right.
Like, yeah,
100%. The
awesome.
other thing that I want to echo what Wes said earlier is like, and this is a big part of why we chose the virtuals community to launch, why we chose virtuals to launch, is the community. Like, we need feedback. We need, like, this is the basic version. And you can see the vision here. I think, Nick, you got it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Once you saw it, it kind of clicks for you. But like, what this becomes is very reliant on what people want it to become, right? This is a creator-driven platform. And so the features that a course creator wants to see are the features that we're going to really prioritize. And so
absolutely
get on there, use it, test it, find ways that we could potentially improve that, and give us feedback. Like the virtuals community is such a strong community. There's so many different talents in it. And like right now we already have like something like 8,000 holders of the Sage token. If you're a holder of the Sage token, like you should be on this platform using it.
I will actually be
giving
using this for my own project.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And so, and I want to, one thing that you mentioned earlier, you're talking about like, if you're an expert at saying creating the course, there's a very old adage that the best way to become a master at something is to teach it.
Right.
And so like, this is a way to like become a master quicker by teaching yourself and then tweaking it to teach others. Right. And so like, don't think, oh, just because you're not an expert in that subject, you can't create a course around it. That's the beauty of it, the AI being on the back end, is that you go through it and learn it. And if you go through it and learn it and say, wow, I picked that up really well, I really like that. Or, you know, 90% of this was great, but there's this one part that I didn't quite understand. I need to go in and edit and explain it better. And then once if you can understand it really well, then it's very likely that that same course is going to be able to help other people understand it really well. So don't be afraid to come on and create courses and go through them. If you're not an expert at the subject you want to learn, you may find that you become an expert over time and that you're able to continuously improve that. The other thing that I think is really powerful about this for course creators, and we talked about this on the first stream, is that if you go to Udemy or Coursera or any of these places, a lot of the times those courses are 2-3 years old, and the world has passed them by already. And
they don't update.
They're just not up to date. The beauty of this is that, you know, we're not just using an LLM and its training date. We're also using custom knowledge bases and the ability to do deep research and go out and gather the most recent knowledge on that subject. And so, you know, when you create a course, that course, when somebody else uses it, may adapt a little bit to the most recent knowledge base, but you're still earning for that as the original creator and the person that monetizes it.
Without having to update the content yourself.
Exactly. So it adapts in real time to real life and to the
real
world.
Could you create a course from scratch right now?
Yes, of course. We just
do it. I'm gonna be right back. But you guys just show us what it would look like to.
That's what we just did. That sign up process that I did. That is
somebody something totally new. Let's say how to create a website.
Right.
How about that? Let's see what happens. I'll be right back.
So obviously, just like any other, the better context you could give it, you know, the better.
So I'm going to tell it that I'm a complete beginner, even though it's technically not true. I'm not really a front-end guy. To build and manage my own websites. Okay. And as you see there on this on the previous page, you can actually add additional goals. So you could say, I want to start my own business. You could say, you know, I want to start a blog, or, you know, I want whatever it is. You can kind of.
Oh, that might be. Yeah, you might want. Another thing we might want to go over is like the profile, where you can kind of like add additional information about
edit your profile and things like that. Yep. So every single course on Sage starts out with a basic assessment to get a baseline of kind of what your actual knowledge base is and where you're at.
So why don't you tell that to Nick? So basically, now that he created the course, this is the start of every course. It starts at a basic assessment, basically a 10-question quiz or so, quizzing you on your knowledge to say like, okay, you said you're a basic, you said you're this. Let's just like make sure that the LLM is correct with your knowledge base, right? So it's giving some pretty basic things right here, and maybe like Miss Drew is a insanely advanced
testing to see like where your knowledge is.
You told it you're this level, but now it's going to give you some questions around that level
and see where you actually are. Yeah,
right. Because we don't trust what people say.
Right. Someone might say that they're an expert, but they're really a beginner.
They're just not right. Interesting. That's crazy. That's crazy good, guys.
Really good. So this is right. So it's kind of quizzing him, and then after this, it goes through like
and then it creates a course based on that. Yeah.
Right. That's exactly
That's awesome.
And again, so he got 88%, so it's in line. So now it's creating like
Drew, only 88%.
So now it's going to create a curriculum, and then once it creates a curriculum, you'll see that user interface that you saw earlier of sort of the path. And then once we're on that path, we'll start creating lessons. And so this is an area where once we roll out the creator tools, there will be a lot more customization around the curriculum. You'll be able to kind of pre-assess the curriculum and say, okay, I want to add this, I want to add that. But right now, it just kind of gives us the curriculum, and then it'll start to generate.
Right.
As the next screen, once this loads, I don't think we need to go through a course again, but why don't you kind of go through the profile where you could like show like where we could give like additional information, right? So let's go up instead of going through this now, because this is like now, you'll see we did this already, of course.
Yeah. So this is where we were earlier, Nick, on the golf one.
Right. Yes. And you learn, you get points and all that.
Yeah.
So go to profile.
Let's go to the profile. So in here, we can edit our profile. And so this is obviously my existing profile. So it kind of knew ahead of time that I was lying when I said I was a beginner.
My
current role is a machine learning experience. I have machine learning engineer, 15 years of experience. I know Python. I know Rust. I know scikit-learn. I want to level up my skills. I learn by hands-on. All of this stuff is pre-built into my profile. We can change any of this. I can only do this on mornings or weekends or short bursts. I want it to be really intense. I like to learn through text and reading, which is technically true. I'm doing it for personal passion, or I'm doing it for a work requirement. I can add additional skills, so I can say JavaScript.
So this is like it just like adds additional context to whenever a new course is created, right? It's using that for additional context to understand what it's actually building, right? So again, with Udemy, you're just like every time you take a course or something like that. With this, like every time you are creating or taking a course and building upon it, it's understanding exactly who you are, what your base knowledge is, what you've done in the past, what your skill set is to really continue to create a curated learning experience. And again, like as we roll out more functionality, we'll have more notifications for people to continue to update their profile, continue to have like more requests to be able to curate more fine-tuned interactive learning. And as we roll out more features, we'll ask people if they don't have to give us more information on that side. But as we roll out more features, we'll be asking people to, if they want to give us more information to help them create a better learning experience. And then kind of continue to kind of like build on it for curators and people that just want to kind of like learn as they go as well.
Yeah, it seems like a big upgrade from, where the typical course. Like nowadays, it's just like it's been done the same way for at least 10 or 15 years at this point. So
yeah, we agree.
There's no AI. There's very little AI. Advancement in your typical.
And what there is with regards to like education AI, and so like my daughter's not quite old enough for this, but we have team members that are using this, and obviously like Wes's kids have been using some existing like AI driven learning experience. It's really more like machine learning and like data and analytics driven as opposed to like generative AI. Right? This is fully generative AI, and it's built to empower teachers and course creators and content creators who want to deliver top quality courses to their students that are up to date, that are flexible, that are adaptive, that can be built around the needs of individuals, not just to the common person. So it creates this baseline that can then be adapted to every individual. I think it's extremely powerful because the way that we've been learning for basically all of human history is in, large groups where you have lots of different learning styles, lots of different speeds at which they can learn, different intelligence levels, different interests, but we're teaching everybody the exact same way. And this is really the first time where the actual course is going to adapt to what it is that you're good at, to your skills, to the way that you learn, all of those different things. It just doesn't really exist yet. And as we talked about in the beginning, like, we're going to add more rich media types, video, voice, more visual learning. So, this is really just the beginning.
I'm much more bullish on it after seeing this demo, to be honest.
Yeah. I think that, like, as we love to, we really like this kind of format, Nick, that you provide.
Yeah.
Of course, a just space where
we
think that, like, as
we need to see it,
we want to continue to come out because we want to showcase these features that we're dropping. We want to showcase kind of like what's behind the scenes as well. So, I think with something as interactive as learning, where, each course is so different, we're going to want to, like, highlight specific types of quizzes, specific types of interactions, specific ways you create courses. And it really is what we're trying to do here. It's a really big mission. It's not done today. It's, we'll continue to update. It's not done next week, and it's not going to be done next month. This is going to be something that we're going to continue to build and iterate on for a long time, where we have really goals on this.
No, this is massive. This is like,
we think that this could
on
its own be, tens of millions in ARR. Like, we think that this could be a really, really, really big company on its own.
It will be.
We think it's going to be really big. And the thing is like, look, this has the opportunity to go way beyond crypto and the virtuals community. Right? This can touch Web 2. This can touch the general population. Eventually, like, right now, it's really sort of more oriented towards adults and continued education. But you could imagine this being rolled out to help teachers in school. To personalize courses for their individual students and say, hey, I've got a student this is how they learn. I've got this other student that this is how they learn, but I need to teach them the same subjects. How can I do that? Like, there's a lot that can be done here to really ensure that the next generation is learning in a way that's better for them.
The fact that they can kind of put in the details and a course will be created, 80 to 90% of the course can be created based off somebody telling you, this is what I need. And then I can fine tune it from there. That's so big. Like, I don't keep in mind. That's like the biggest thing to me is like, because I think a lot of people are thinking like, I have to go and design my own course, and I have to make these videos, and I have to upload them all.
It's going to be really cool once you could add your own.
No, it's like actually the AI just does, like, you tell it what you want specifically, and it does 80 to 90% of the course, the testing, the points and all this stuff. And then you get to, like, go through that yourself, and you're like, okay, this needs to be tweaked a little bit, and and you get to fine tune it. Like, that's what I really think, like, the bulk of people don't realize with this platform is like, they're like, oh, would I have to already be a course creator, and I have to, like, port my courses over to Sage. Like, it's like,
not at all.
Like,
but by the way,
an idea that this is what some people might want to learn, or there's a market for this type of knowledge, or you have a platform and you want to teach people to use your own product easier.
Very valuable for that. By the way, so if you do have existing courses, you can port them over and add them as a knowledge base. Like I think, Wes, you're going to talk about that a little bit. Like I think that's something to highlight.
Exactly. That's definitely something we want to highlight. Now, I would also say is like one huge advantage with using LLMs and AI as the infrastructure is like, as there's so many of these open source LLMs that are continuing to be released and improved on.
Yep.
And it gives us, in regards to like our trajectory of like how we're able to grow this thing in the upcoming months and years, we just have such an advantage over some of these other companies out there, where when a more powerful LLM gets released, right, all we have to do is, obviously we have to do some like testing and stuff like that, but all we have to do is update the model, right? That it's being based on. And then all of a sudden, like massive improvement starts to occur. We had another model that does better, another video, something that we haven't even thought of yet, right? So it's just like, it's a really interesting concept when you're using these open source models as the backend infrastructure, because we're just the trajectory of how we're going to be able to grow. A lot of these old school and like companies, and even if they start to layer on some AI into what they're doing, you know, they have something called like technical debt, right? Their whole infrastructure is built on old code, old database structure. It's going to be very, very difficult for other companies that are more ingrained, but you know, they don't have the same infrastructure as us, for them to be able to keep up long term with where we're going. So, you know, again, like I think that this is really what we wanted to kind of like accomplish on the stream. We wanted to share with the community that, you know, we're live. This is a beta. There's going to be updates coming every single, you know, every couple days, and every week we'll continue to be pushing code. Look out for a lot more features in the near future. The creator economy is coming, where you'll be able to offer your courses to other people, monetize, use private knowledge, more curation, and a lot more to kind of come with in regards to formation. We plan on having Sage staking live next week as well. Once we roll out like the paid version, starting to integrate like direct Sage token utility for like unlocking features and payments and things like that as well. And then again, a lot more to come on formation. So
what if Sam, I got a website, and like there's a little bit of a learning curve to do what my website offers? Would people need to go to your web? Like, would there be like a API that I could plug in, you know, to my website, and like people can get like a 5-minute tutorial? Or like, are you guys planning stuff like that? Like that seems to be like, because you know, somebody who may have a product on their website, they're like, I don't want people going off my web.
For sure.
You know,
Sure, you want to get
like that? So that's a big part of the main value proposition of like the ACP component of what we're doing. So it doesn't have to be done through ACP, but like this is kind of what we envision using ACP for, particularly for the other virtuals agents. But yes, the short answer to that is yes. Like if you want a white labeled course that you take from Sage, you build on Sage, but you want it displayed on your website, absolutely, that's a feature that we will have. You won't have to send people to Sage to learn about it. Obviously, you would have an account because you're creating it on Sage, and then there would be charges for like the API calls to hit the agent if somebody wanted a deeper explanation or wanted to go more in depth on a topic. But yes, that is a feature that we plan on rolling out relatively soon here. And it was one of the things that we thought about a lot with regards to the ACP component and the education cluster, being able to use Sage as kind of this backend to power third-party tutorials, third-party websites that where a learning component is needed.
Right. Yeah, because like I got a website I'm diving right now, and like, you know, there might be some people that are like, well, how do I, you know, do this or that, you know, and I'm like, well, if you could just give them like a little tutorial, you know, maybe some people use it, maybe some people won't. They'll be able to figure it all out. But like if there's a little button they can click and like they get that aspect of it. I mean, would I rather do that myself? No, I'd rather use Sage to do that because you know, that's what you guys are designed to do.
Right.
So yeah, that would be huge. Yeah.
So yeah, so I think we can kind of wrap it. I think this is kind of we got to kind of hop back on and kind of like just make sure everything's running smoothly.
Right.
Kind of hop on with our community as well and hop on with our team. But you know, Nick, we appreciate you having us on. Definitely would love to do more of these in the future. And yeah, we've put a lot of work into this point, but there's a lot more left to go. So you know, we're super excited.
Yeah, you know,
get on and try it out. Go sign up. Go sign up.
Try it out.
Give us feedback. We're really, really, really excited for you guys to get on there.
Just tell the LLM what type of court you want to make. Like, it's completely wide open for anybody. That's what I think the majority of people didn't understand is like you could be like, I want to create a course on scuba diving, you know, and like the LLM, it just does it.
Our motto is learn anything. And we want to see, like, I mean, obviously right now, like there's probably going to be stuff that if you're an expert in, you're like, okay, this isn't quite right. But that's what we want your feedback for. And like, try it out. Give us feedback.
Right.
Like, let's make this the best it could possibly be. And if you're one of the 8,000 or so Sage token holders, like you got to go in and sign up and test this thing out. Like,
absolutely,
give us your feedback. That's one of the reasons we chose virtuals to launch. Like, we want to tap into the virtuals community. We want to tap into that talent base, and we want to get the feedback from them. So really, really, really excited about getting feedback from the community. We're really excited to release this. And just, again, want to thank you, Nick, for having us back on.
Anytime, guys.
Showcase this a little bit. And we look forward to everybody getting on there and testing it out.
Yep. No coding knowledge needed, Coffee Shark, by the way. It's all done through the LLM.
Natural language, click. It's
anyone can go on, and the more
as you saw it, like the UI is super intuitive,
super easy,
something very important to us. So
yes, watch the video, watch the stream. Appreciate you guys coming on again. Let's do it again soon, maybe in a couple weeks, maybe in another week. You know, that's fine with me. Whenever I'm interested in this stuff, I think you guys are developing a great product here. So appreciate it. Yep.
Cool.
All right,
Thanks,
guys.
Take care.
Thank you.
Yep.